Okay, point number 4. The theft of the right of African leadership. Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. Amos 9:9-7, the book of Nahum. Nimrod being a mighty warrior before the Lord. Ham, Cush, Nimrod, kind of order, kind of continuity. The continuity of the sage cheating the Royal African Falcon martial art order. Okay, so the theft of the right of African leadership is another problem I have with it. I'll explore in the comments. Number 5, the Jews, they say the Jews are chosen and who the Jews are presented to us as, right? It's confusing us. With the Bible's interpretation and no one correcting this, there's confusion here. The simplest answer is the Bible is Bible, and it is to cheat the African martial art order out of their right to lead and their right to be seen as ideal in order for people to reproduce in the correct way. When you confuse people about who's ideal, you make black people seem ugly and grimy and poor and dusty, and you give them AIDS and do all these horrible things to them so you can pretend that your race, your nerd race, for example, is superior. You basically are tricking everyone into bed. It's basically, you're setting the stage for everyone to get raped, and everyone's basically being raped. All sex is rape because they're too confused. They don't have the mental clarity to truly consent. So there's not even a hint of evidence that these people are good people. Name one Jew any time in history, one white Jew will say, at any point in history, who is clear-cut, that guy's a good person, he embodies the Spirit of God. It doesn't exist. How could that be? If your people are chosen, and recorded history goes back, say it goes back to, we'll just call 3000 BC in Egypt. Obviously, there's more recorded history before that. Okay, why don't you have a single example outside of the book that you presented of you embodying spiritual intelligence? And there's many rich Jews, there's many powerful Jews. Okay, if such a thing existed, it would be front and center all over the media. It's not, because it doesn't. Okay, and in your own book it says you know them by their fruit. Where are your moral fruit? Where's your potently spiritual and moral fruit? You basically blended in with the white racist establishment to oppress disenfranchised people, when your own book and even in the Old Testament says the Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed. That's a fail. We also have to look at things in terms of frequency. If all leopards are faster than hell, and most dogs aren't, do we look for the fastest land animal among the dogs or the leopards? Of course, it goes back to the West Africa versus East Africa. It's because of the Jewish scale and Bob Marley being elevated by the Jewish media, do people look at the Ethiopians as some kind of as superior African people? Okay, when EA is Inky, East Africa, and WA, way, with phonetics applied, sounds applied, right? And right? Who has the Martin Luther King, right? Mandela. These are more West African-like people. So let's compare Bob Marley to Ojukwu, who led the Biafrans in a true revolution against the Nigerian army. There is no Ethiopian Ojukwu. There is no, offspring of Ethiopia in terms of what you see as Ethiopia, not the kind of greater African diaspora, if you will. Okay. Now compare the Igbo martial art order to Haile Selassie. He's one guy that somebody said, hey, this guy's important. And that's all that is. He wasn't even that great of a leader. You can't compare him to a true martial art leader from the Igbo tribe with focused moral intensity. The Ethiopians fail to be logically and morally and spiritually and romantically, etc., put above the Igbos. They don't have that heroic moral intensity. They don't have the martial arts thing. They have a more set position body. They don't have a more athletic martial art body. To put it simply, they're less coordinated. Okay. The Igbos are even called the Jews of Africa, and not the Ethiopians, even though most people recognize Ethiopians as Jews, and there's Ethiopians living in Israel recognized as Jews to some degree, and the Igbos are not recognized by Israel as Jews. Number 6, manifest destiny, right? The ship's manifest. It's scrambled, man-e-fist. These white people, these white-skinned people are trying to manifest the Igbo slaves' destiny, and it's straightforward that the Bible is helping them do it. Serapis, see rape is, okay? It's basically, the Serapis guys were basically trying to use the Osiris Khonsu myth. Basically, Osiris is kill the real Horus and rape the female that should go to him, basically, and have a child and have her raise him, and magically he is the new pharaoh and he's legitimate. That is their argument, okay? The Serapis guys are some kind of Roman kind of cult that were doing this thing, and they're trying to at least, and these other Roman guys basically killed him, and that's why we have various images of Jesus that are Serapis-like, because these guys, it's like their family stabbed him in the back. That's the Roman way, okay? So, we see Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, Miss Cleo. This is part of the romantic injustice that occurs. When going to my point number 7, love is the greatest commandment. Who has it? Right? God is love. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. Okay. And it says the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. So why do you deal in romantic injustice? Why do all of you shun me when I'm the bridegroom? I'm the Christos. You have no viable counter-argument. That's why you suppress my videos and gaslight, which is a play on words for gaslight. You're basically a bunch of Babylonian sodomites in the church. And, on record in the Catholic Church, for example, after all the kids getting raped in the ass and so on and so forth, they say 20% of the priests in one survey they did are gay. How could that be? Because your church is the church of Sodom. All the churches that are allowed are Circe, Circus, Kirk, Church of Sodom, garbage. Okay. And of course, in case you want to do the wordplay, they C-U-R-C. Circe. Circe is a female deity of the temple of witchcraft, if you will, a witchcraft deity in Greco-Roman mythology. She's first depicted as a short, kind of hunchback black woman, and we see her later on depicted as a tall, kind of white Jewish-looking woman. All right. Number 8, the Inquisition, the Crusades. All the rape that took place. Basically, the Inquisition was about raping people and torturing people who didn't agree with them about their ideas, in a nutshell. And the Crusades was a rape mission as well. It's basically the old cronies, right? You're a crony in the church. The church is even called civic institutions. It's called institutional racism for a reason, okay? And it's crony capitalism. It's, both parties basically widely acknowledge it's crony capitalism. And it's popular. Everyone basically knows it. Okay? And they have their cronies in the church, and that's what's going on. Okay, so rapist and racist are connected, race and rape. So basically, the feminist issues, the gay issues, they have no argument. In the wordplay with agenda, you got ad and gay. Ad means Lord in Sumerian. You do the math, right? G, the earth deity, Jesus. G says, Ki, the earth deity. We can go on and on. Checkered floor versus the sun. The yin yang versus the Shinto sun gate. We can go on and on about why the Dionysus, why the cults of the West, the corporations, the governing class, the ruling establishments at the time, and all throughout history, the continuity of that is going on still, have twisted these things, okay, and made it about earth energy and a kind of Luciferian Satan paradigm, okay, Baal and Set in a kind of Yah energy, which Yah is a play on words for Y-A, Y the alpha, the H is defense, and it's also Ha, why? Why? They laugh, they're circus clowns, they're fair clowns, they're fairground bitches. It's the pharaoh versus the fairy. We can go on and on about why that is. So by now, you should know the Bible is by Bill. It checks out. It has all the signs are there. Who is presenting it? The kind of big white guy who treats people unfairly like a bully. The bully white guy, the bully cop, the bully in the military, the bully cowboy, the black guys who are more like them, the token minorities in the military and the masonry and so on and so forth. Mason, the craft, the kind of craftsman-shaped, ball-shaped guys. It's also a result of the craft. Look at, in their own Bible, they talk about the craftsmen arguing with the people in Acts, talking about greatest, quote-unquote, Diana, of the Ephesians or whatever, and so on and so forth. There's a bunch of craftsmen arguing with them. And it's by Baal, it's by the craft. Set, you have a bunch of small guys in the church, a bunch of small guys everywhere, small Jews, small white guys, okay? These are the two main forms. And yes, you have some kind of tall, uncoordinated guys, but they're the children of the small guys. That's why they're uncoordinated. So all people are Africans. The true martial art order is tall and coordinated. Evolution. Okay, it's like that's why they have this. They have the circus midgets, the strong men, the guys on the stilts. These are the Baal and Set forms.